Hello and a warm welcome to Road America, where we bring you the Ryan Company's Muscle Car Challenge for Trans Am, the 2018 season, getting into the business end. Jonathan Green here with Jake Dallenbach. And Jake, it's a bit of a sort of muggy start to the day. It's early in the morning here in Road America, but a great place for Trans Am, one of the most iconic places on the map of Trans Am over the years, and certainly one we've been looking forward to, not just because of the course, but also because where the championship is set in TA2.
Yeah, and at least it's dry. We had
some rain yesterday, right?
Some rain yesterday, yeah. It's the TA2 race, the TA2 standings right now, it's tight. And with some of these more guest appearances we have, I think Rafa and Tony are maybe feeling a little bit of pressure this weekend.
Well, Rafa Matos has totally dominated the championship since Road Atlanta, in fact, where he got his first ever win in TA2. That's the Brazilian, of course, based out of Florida. But Rafa, the former Indy man, has been trailblazing across the United States in the last few months and continues to lead the championship by just 18 points. And that's what's made it interesting, is that even though the experienced Tony Buffalmonte has not won a lot of races, he's been right there and he's basically keeping Rafa honest. And I think the pressure will be on this weekend, because Rafa, if he can wrap it up again this weekend and put on another immaculate performance as he's done so in the past, I think Tony's going to be running out of chances. But this is a place where Tony is confident. He's from this part of the world. He loves Road America, and we spoke to him yesterday, and he is definitely got a tail up for this weekend's racing.
Yeah, and he's confident. And going into a race like this, especially here at Road America, this is a fast track. So to have that confidence does a lot for you at the beginning of the race.
Well, we've also got, or we're part of the Xfinity race weekend for NASCAR this weekend, and I think that also is going to make things interesting, simply because we've got some very, very good hot shoes out there, young guys coming up through the ranks and taking on the NASCAR Xfinity Championship. And basically the idea, there's 5 of them, just getting extra road time before their race this afternoon.
Yeah, seat time. And I talked to Tyler Reddick yesterday a little bit, and he was like, when the opportunity jumped up to get in a TA2 car, he's like, why not? I mean, these cars he's having more fun in these cars. He said he loves it. He loves the series, and he'll probably be back.
Yeah, and we pointed out from Mid-Ohio a couple of weeks ago that these aren't just the guys making up the numbers who need track time. These are the guys who are basically contending for the championship in Xfinity. So we've got the Matt Tifft and Riddick, as you mentioned. Chris Bell, who was leading the championship, he won't be racing, though, although he started the weekend thinking he was going to do some Trans Am again.
Yeah, and looks like Scott Heckert will be filling that seat. Not sure why he won't be in, but I think Scott jumped at the opportunity when he saw the rest of the guys having so much fun over here.
Well, we're just waiting for the cars to come out, and we hope you'll enjoy what should be a fascinating. You're looking down at the front straight here at Road America, a big hill up the front straight and then into this turn 1, the right-hander. And we'll take you around the course as we see it. There's the hill I'm talking about. This is the last corner here at Road America. And so really, this is the place, and Buffalmonte summed it up brilliantly yesterday when he said, this is where we let the ponies out, because literally this is where a horsepower track, there's 3 very long straights, including the one we're looking at here, and this hill we're looking at, which is the main straight here at Road America. So I think it's sort of almost made for Trans Am, isn't it?
Absolutely. And it's a crazy sensation when you're flat out going up that hill. The car gets a little light. It's a lot of fun. And everyone motor-wise is so even. It seems like the Dodge and the Chevys have a little more torque, but the Fords have a little more horsepower at the end of the straightaway. So I think it'll be interesting to see what fares better during the race.
So in that respect, let's go back to that, because that's an important point. So we're looking at Ford versus Camaro. That's certainly how the championship is. So in that respect, how would you run it if you were in a Ford, and how would you run it if you were in a Camaro, given what you just said?
I think the Fords can rely on a little more the end of the straightaway. So if I'm Buffalmonte, I'm saying, okay, I've got a little bit of advantage on the back end. Whereas like Rafa would say, okay, I really got to get off this last corner, turn 14, so I can have the momentum at the end of the corner. So it's a different mindset for each driver.
Yeah, I've seen so many different races here, from 2 wheels to 4, and there's some very distinctive places where the drive you get out of turn 3, for example, is key. And like you say, at the bottom of the hill out of turn 14 to get back up the hill, 2 really important places. And if you get stuck in the mud or you go a little wide and miss your apex, it can ruin a lap here and actually ruin a race here, because I've seen races won and lost literally in the run up the hill.
Yeah, and I mean, look at this track. If you're looking at the map, these long straightaways, it takes a lot of time if you mess up a corner to catch back up. So I think everyone's really going to have to be on their A game today.
I was talking to Alini Cipriani in TA3, and she'd never raced here. She's in the Ginetta, of course. She'll be out later on. But she was saying that the one thing she liked about Road America is that it just doesn't suffer fools. And I think everybody, to a man and a woman, says the same thing about this place. It is full on concentration. One mistake and it's all over. And we've actually had a situation with Ernie Francis Jr., who will be in TA. And actually, we're waiting to see if he comes out in TA2 as well, because he's trying to do both championships. But he had a big off in practice, some oil down from a previous runner, and had a big off here. And, yeah, if you get caught out here through the kinks, you could be in trouble.
Yeah, watching that replay is, I'm glad he's okay, because that was a pretty gnarly wreck.
Well, as you can see, cars out on track. Doug Peterson had a great run, and I'm glad to say I did see the 44. That is Ernie Francis Jr. Out there. This is our 46th appearance at the National Park of Speed that is Road America for TA2. The Ryan Company's Muscle Car Challenge. This will be an 101.2-mile race, to be exact. But for old time's sake, it's basically 25 laps of this iconic circuit. There's the pace car. Now, Jake, you were doing this job last year, and I don't fancy that, to be honest, because there's a lot of horsepower behind you. It's one heck of a track, 4 miles in all, one of the longest on the series. I would have thought it's a bit of a daunting task.
Yeah, and it rained.
Oh, nice. So you're on road tires
yeah.
as well.
Yeah, and talking to a lot of the guys, it's kind of funny, because if race control says you need to go this fast, and then the guys are like, well, I'm in between gears. Can you go faster? And you got to listen to race control. So it's you can have a couple guys mad at you every now and then, but it was a lot of fun. It was fun in the rain here to get out there with that car. So.
Yeah, we had some rain earlier in the weekend. Thankfully, as you can see, it's not particularly bright this morning, but it is about to dust off. I've been talking to the locals here in Wisconsin, and they say it's going to be a fine day here. So that's good news. And I think we should get some good racing in here. We've got a full hour or just over of racing to come. The championship very much in the balance, with Rafa Matos with an 18-point lead over Tony Bufamonte. Bufamonte, 2-time winner here, won in 2016, was second last year, and Jordan Bupp. But the man I'm looking at, that's the top 3. The man I'm looking at this weekend, Scott Lagasse, is another guy who isn't really in contention, but he's the man on form at the moment.
Yeah, he's not quite in contention, but he could be. He could be. We're not so far out that he couldn't. I think he's sitting 6th or 7th, 8th in the championship. But with a win here and some bad luck on someone else's part, he could be right there. So, and I know he is really itching for a win after the last few races.
So Mike Cope Racing, a huge contingent here, and of course led by Tony Bufamonte, and he was really saying how much he was enjoying having fun with the youngsters that have come from Xfinity, and actually being quite generous, helping them out, learning the cars and so on. You said that's a little bit more generous than I would be.
Yeah, no kidding. He's running for a championship, and these guys are,
taking points off him.
Taking points away.
Well, that's what I was surprised about when these guys came in at Roda at Mid-Ohio, was that they genuinely take championship points, even though this is not a bit of fun, but even though this is not their focus for the year. Xfinity is what they do. They're still going to pick up championship points, and you can see there's still a little bit of mist out there on the camera lenses, but humidity will burn off, we hope, and we'll get some clear racing. So that Corvette leading them round. Good, strong field of TA2. And let's just talk about the specs. Effectively, it's not a one-spec series, but these guys are pretty much, they're all at 500 horsepower, right? Right,
yeah. And like I said, these cars are so even. it's going to be interesting. Like I said, the torque and the top end of the Mustangs. I don't know. I'm thinking Tony.
You think Buffalmonte?
I'm thinking Buffalmonte.
That's interesting.
I think he knows this track. He's won here, and like I said, going into a track like this with the confidence that he has, I think he's the guy.
Forming up as they come up the hill. The green flag waves. We're away here at Road America. Good start. Great start from Rafa Matos on the outside of the track. Let's see what he does. He'll probably get bumped as they go into the right-hander. Really good clean start, and they all dive in. Buffalmonte slotting in the 34 on the inside into what, 4th place as they head down the hill for the first time. Good start from Matt Tifft, the man from North Carolina, just holding off Matos for now, but Matos side by side as they go through turn 3, and now down the long straight for the first time. And this is the first time as they head through the woods, Jake, that we'll see this horsepower in full flow.
Yeah, and Rafa was smart there. Get behind Tifft, get a good run, and try to outbreak him. I don't think he's quite close enough yet, but those things are fast down there.
I'm going to say, coming into turn 4, tight left-hander, down through the gearbox. You can see the flames flying, the crowd loving that. This is one of the great places to watch at Road America. And Buffalmonte in, 5th place at the moment. Not a good start. Good start from Keith Prochik as they head up the hill now and down towards the carousel for the first time. Get the feeling as Rafa Matos does pick up the lead. Whoever does lead at the end of the first lap has got a great advantage here. Teammate Peterson, Doug Peterson, who had a 5th place last time out at Mid-Ohio, doing very well early on.
Yeah, as long as, I think that was Rafa's plan. Get out in front and put as much distance between everyone else and himself as possible.
There's Tim Gray. Good to see him. Had a chat with him yesterday. He damaged that car at Detroit, or was basically hit by another car at Detroit. So he's been out. He did a few rounds in Florida at the beginning of the season, did Sebring and Homestead, and is now glad to be back in the Trans Am Series as they head into the carousel for the first time. I said, "Why'd you come back here?" He said, "It's Road America. Of course I'm going to race here." So we'll be keeping an eye on him. And of course, Ryan Companies. The Ryan Companies Muscle Car Challenge. Great to have them on board as we dive through the woods. And now down to the back of the circuit. It's a wonderful place to go racing. And a great place for the fans too, because there's so many good little perch places where you can lean over a hill and watch these guys go underneath, or stand at the top of the hill and watch them roar by. There's the 00. There's one of the Xfinity boys in the number 24. That's Brandon Jones. He was raced also at Mid-Ohio. And there's Ernie Francis Jr. somewhere mid-pack, and Ernie kind of just biding his time, I think, in TA2. He's just joined TA2. We get a full course yellow early on, and not quite sure what caused that yet, but they've all slowed right down again. And Rafa Matos, though, has got the start he wanted. Ernie Francis Jr. still in the top 15. He's, 14th place at the moment. Honeywell, Prochek got a bad start. And there's damage. There's a lot of damage. Well, it would look good on a train if he was trying to get some cattle out of the way. It got or a snowplow. Yeah, it would be good in the winter here at Road America, but not right now in the middle of summer.
Not sure what happened there. The whole splitter.
Yeah.
It's like he almost went backwards over one of the rumble strips, and it pulled the splitter up.
Well, it's certainly not going to be very conducive to going fast, that's for sure. So, the Corvette back out. Pacing car. The pace car now, and now in these conditions early in the morning, it's a little cooler than it would be in an afternoon race, so they've really got to keep these tires up to temperature now. This is a long track, 4 miles in all, and you can imagine if you do 2 laps under safety, you're going to be worried about the restart, aren't you?
A little bit. It's still pretty muggy out too, so it's not like it's 50 degrees where there's a lot of worry. So, but I'm sure it's definitely in the back. It's always in the back of your mind, especially Rafa and Tifft, those guys up front. That's something you got to think about on restart, because 1 lap, 2 laps, cold tires, definitely something to think about.
So Matt Tifft in the number 26, the man from North Carolina, in 2nd place behind Rafa Matos in the 88, the man from Boca Raton, Florida, and of course originally from Brazil. Jordan Bupp in third place. Bupp, of course, a winner at Indianapolis, almost by default. I think it surprised him he won there because there was so much attrition, so much drama in that race. Matos thought he'd won it, but jumped the start and also had a technical infringement after the race. Then there was others. Buffamonte got in trouble as well. He thought he'd won, came into winner's circle and was sort of shooed away. And then out of it all, Jordan Bupp took the victory, and that's what's put him in third place overall. And now third place on the road right now in this race here at Road America.
Yeah, and he's kind of been silently just back there. So if anything goes wrong with Rafa or Tony, he's going to be right there to reap the benefits. So he's sort of in a cool spot where, you know, he's running well. He's about 80 points out of the championship, but 80 points in 2 races, I mean, that can be made up very quickly.
Well, and also talking to Buffamonte yesterday, I was kind of egging him on a little bit because I was like, you're not going to let this guy run away with it, are you? And he kind of smiled. He went, you know what? This track and the tracks coming, Watkins Glen's, VIR, and even Daytona, these are good tracks for us, tracks where I'm confident with the package we've got. So I just get the feeling that Buffamonte's confidence now, even though Matos has pretty much dominated this championship this year, feels as though if he can get a good result today, he can take this championship to Rafa and take it all the way to Daytona.
And the thing I like about Tony, every time we talk to him, he's calm.
Yeah.
He's very calm.
What are you saying? Rafa isn't calm?
Well, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I think, well, he's Brazilian, you know, that's okay.
That's true.
He lives his heart on his sleeve. It's all good stuff. But yeah, no, you're right. And very different ways of going about it. And of course, Rafa, Buffamonte, he's been doing this championship for a long time and has got probably more experience than anybody. He is the archetypal Trans Am man, whereas Rafa has come from single-seaters and is learning his way. But of course, most single-seater guys love this because it doesn't necessarily involve the precision that you would in an Indy car, let's say. But these cars, and I think it was one of the drivers yesterday who said it, you have to drive these. Green flag is waving as they come up the hill. We're racing again in Road America. Good start from Rafa Matos. He pulls away at the start and heads down towards the first corner again. Rafa Matos in the three-dimensional services. Camaro leads the way. Tifft in second place. Jordan Bupp in the Mustang right there in third position. The 00 of Ty Majeski, we haven't mentioned him. Another North Carolina entry, one of the guys that's racing in Xfinity. He's in fourth place in the all-orange 00. And Buffamonte's dropped back a bit. There he is on the 34 on the outside, hung out to dry. He's alongside Ernie Francis Jr. right now. So a big loss for Tony Buffamonte, having bigged up him in the last couple of minutes. He's got some work to do as Rafa picks up the lead again as they head down towards turn 4.
I'm not sure if he spun his tires or something on the restart because he fell back.
Whoa! We got an out of control 25, and whoa! That was a big move. I don't know what happened to Goikenberg there, but he just suddenly started going sideways under braking, and whether something broke on the car, I don't know, but that was a right mess.
Really good save by Ty Majeski.
Yeah, no kidding.
He almost got caught up in it.
He was kind of looking at the other driver coming through his windscreen at the moment, but in that incident. Now, there's the 34. There's Buffamonte. Francis Jr. in the grey and black 44 just behind him. So drama at turn 4 here at the restart. And this only the second lap. Peterson up to 12 ahead of Wilson and Sheehan. Prochuk with work to do. Keith Prochuk, this is his home race too. He's from Chicago. Got a lot of friends and family. Drove up. Says he's probably done 10,000 miles around this track. He's done track instruction, he's done series here, junior series here, and now of course racing in Trans Am. Got a lot of debut on this track already, look.
A lot of hometown guys here.
Yeah, we do. Yep, absolutely. We've got quite a few entries from Wisconsin, and of course Chicago just down the road. And so yeah, a lot of guys. And of course it's also, it kind of brings out extra entries, I think, because everybody just loves racing at the iconic Road America. Celebrated its 60th anniversary recently. Go down to the shop here. It's a absolute festival for racing because there's so much to gather in terms of the history here. Can-Am, Trans Am, IndyCar, you name it. It's all been here. So back up the hill they come. Rafa Matos starting to build on that lead. The gap 1.084 as they cross the line for lap 3. Jordan Bupp getting a good start, and Jordan is the one actually we should keep a watchful eye on, because we talk about Lagasse, Scott Lagasse trying to make an influence on the championship, but Jordan Bupp could put himself right in a good position here if he holds off Buffamonte, down in 8th position at the moment. Yeah. Is that Matt Tifft coming in?
It is.
Wow. Matt Tifft, who was in 2nd place, has pulled out. Or at least pulled into the pits for something. That's interesting. So we know why the Goikenberg's in. He was the man who literally was sideways into turn 4. Under braking, he just completely lost it, but somehow managed to gather it enough to get it out of the way of most of the traffic. Like you say, that could have been a big pileup with so many people behind him. But
I know who liked to see Tifft come in as Bupp.
Yeah, no kidding. Now, yeah, exactly. That changes the face of this race big time. So, Rafa Matos leads this race. Tifft has just pulled in, as has Goikenberg. We've had a little power cut here, so we just lost the pictures for a second, but racing continues. Just give you a quick rundown. Rafa Matos leading the way, Tifft pulling in, and that's put Jordan Bupp up to 2nd place. Majeski up to 3rd place. Scott Lagasse now in 4th. So Scott Lagasse Jr., and again, a man on the run at the moment, definitely the man on form, and he was in all sorts of battles in Mid-Ohio. Dylan McAvern also in the top 5 as they cross the line again.
And I tell you what, Bupp is not letting Rafa get too far away.
No, this is a good run so far by Jordan Bupp. And of course, not unlike yourself, there's a legacy there. He's got Kenny out there still racing, and he's amazing as Kenny Bupp, isn't he?
How old is he?
I don't know, but I don't even say his age, but he's getting up there for sure. Now, I'm keeping a watchful eye on Tony Buffamonte, currently running in 7th position, just ahead of Ernie Francis Jr. Then Tyler Reddick is just behind him in 9th position.
Tyler Reddick's been solidly making up spots.
And if you're watching on our live feed, we have had a bit of a power cut, but we'll get back to the pictures as soon as we can, so we apologize for that. But racing continues here at Road America. Rafa Matos starting the weekend with an 18-point lead here coming into Road America. And we're getting down to the business end of this championship. An important weekend for Rafa. If he can nail this one as he's done so many of the others, then the championship might just change.
Don't count out McAvern for this race, too. He's a 4-time winner, so he ran here full-time in Trans Am last year, so I'd watch him as well. Yeah,
Dylan, we were talking to him. He's been running in IMSA, and I said, well, what was the impetus of coming back? And he said, I just love these cars. He said that they may be a little blunter than the ones I'm used to, but and that's it's a good expression because I know what he means. They aren't as precise, but he said you have to learn how to drive these cars, and he said that's what I love about it. Trans Am, I think, is really a purist sport for sure.
You can lean on people, too.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, it's part of it.
52-year history has Trans Am, and it really is the heartbeat of American racing, and this is the perfect place to show them off. Full horsepower here at Road America, one of the great iconic tracks here in the heart of the countryside of Wisconsin. And now the leaders crossing the line one more time, and this has been a really good effort so far from Jordan Bupp. As you rightly point out, he's keeping Rafa honest. Last time out, a 221.4, and in fact, Jordan Bupp right there with him. And I think Tifft is also It may not have been Tifft that came in because he's still showing he was in second place. So maybe a similar car. Maybe it was Brad Jones. Definitely one of the NASCAR boys. Ernie Francis Jr. getting into the top 10. Buffamonte moving up the board. He's in 7th at the moment. A man from Napierville, Illinois. Good strong field here, as always, in Road America. I'm looking down. What's happened to Keith Prochuk then? Down in 15th place, just ahead of Anthony Honeywell. And just surprised to see him as low down as that. Likewise, Tommy Sheehan. Good run so far by Sabato coming in, the Canadian. And, of course, we're just down the road from the Canadian border. Tyler Reddick still in the top 10. Doug Peterson, teammate, of course, to Rafa Matos in the three-dimensional services car. Doug running the team and really, really happy with what Rafa's been doing for him. And it's been a good story, actually. Doug getting a new car last time out at Mid-Ohio, taking it to 5th place. It was a big celebration. Rafa winning the race and Doug doing probably the best finish of his season for sure.
Yeah, and I'm sure Doug loves having Rafa as a teammate.
No kidding.
There's some good data there you can pull from, and you know, having a guy that's a teammate that's as fast as Rafa, I mean, you can always learn stuff from. You always have something to learn with competitors. So I'm sure he's learning a lot this season.
Yeah, I can confirm it is Matt Tifft. We apologize about not being able to see too much at the moment. We're looking at the timing, and obviously it's Tifft who is still in second place and keeping Rafa honest. They're on identical laps at the moment. Last time out, in fact, Tifft in the last couple of laps has been a couple of tenths quicker than Rafa Matos, and that's really making sure that Rafa doesn't make any mistakes. But I thought there was a good line from Scott Lagasse yesterday where he said he loves competing against Rafa Matos because all Rafa does for an hour is do qualifying laps. And I thought that was actually a good comment because that's the best racing driver you can be. If you can go out and do an hour of qualifying laps, then you're going to win the race, surely.
In theory.
In theory, unless everybody else does the same. Good point.
Looks like Ty Majeski hopped up to 3rd there.
Yeah, just got ahead of Jordan Bupp. So either Bupp made a mistake or there was a good move by Ty. But like you say, now we've got Tifft and Majeski up there. Ty Majeski coming in with the Newman Wax team. Good to see them in the 00 and their second outing of the year. Normally known for their single-seater adventures, but great to see them in Trans Am. And just in case you were worried that we're running a night race here, we've just had a bit of a power cut down here in Road America, and we'll get back to the pictures as soon as we can. But we're keeping you up to date with what's going on. We have a live race going on. The racing is fast and furious out there, and it's being led by Rafa Matos, the championship leader, by 18 points at the moment. And he's done a good start. We've already had one caution where a couple of cars involved, and that led us to a safety car. We then got the restart. Rafa got a good restart and is leading again and trying to hold off Matt Tifft, who is probably just a little bit quicker. So Rafa crosses the line again. Jordan Bupp crossing the line. Lagasse's the man on the move. His last lap of 2:19 points. Sorry, his best lap of 2:19.6. His last lap, that was that lap. So Lagasse definitely the man on the move.
Yeah, like we mentioned before. I mean, look, our top 5: Camaro, Mustang, Mustang, Camaro, Mustang. So that.
Yeah, it's pretty much going to plan. Talk a little bit about this circuit itself, Jake. I mean, we've mentioned the long straights, and obviously that is out-and-out horsepower. There's nothing more than do that. But there are some tricky places here, too, where if you get, like you say, it's all about getting in the right position for drive here. And I would have thought in terms of passing too, strategically thinking about where you're going to be on the track to get into the last corner and make your run.
Yeah, obviously after the carousel, that's going to be a big one, and especially it depends going into the kink with these cars. It depends who's breathing and who's not. Sometimes I talk to some of the guys down in the paddock. Some of the fast guys might breathe a little bit, and some of the other guys.
And just explain what you mean. Well, I know what you're saying.
So in the kink, when you go through the corner, fast guys will breathe the car a little bit. And when you take your foot off the gas, what that does is it sets the front of the car down, and you can turn a little bit better because you got the weight on the front of the car. If you go flat through there and you start to push or the car doesn't turn, you're actually just scrubbing off speed. So that after you get out of 10 going into the kink, depending how well you get the car pointed, you can get up and try to outbrake someone going into 12.
Just to remind you, we've got Watkins Glen coming up, still VIR, Daytona, COTA, of course. We finish off the championship at the Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas, and back-to-back with the final race at another iconic circuit, that of Daytona Motor Speedway, and looking forward to that. And I've got a feeling that this championship will go all the way. Rafa Matos, though, starting to do a really good job of pushing this championship. Ty Majeski losing ground. The gap between himself and the front two is about 6 seconds. So Rafa and Tifft are in a bit of a world of their own at the moment as they pile on the laps here at Road America. Bufamonte up to 5th, and that's important. I don't know what's happened to Jordan Butt, but he's gone down to 6th place now, and he's behind Bufamonte.
And, I'm just looking at Scott Lagasse. His last time was a 2:17.9.
Whoa, that's quick.
And Rafa's was a 2:18.9. So Lagasse's putting some times down.
Yeah, I'm really impressed.
If it stays green, I think he could catch up.
Well, it was interesting. Again, talking to him yesterday, he, of course, has raced in all sorts of fields of racing, and he says the likes of Majeski and Tifft, that these are his old friends, so he's happy to go wheel to wheel with them, and he did so at Mid-Ohio, so he's quite comfortable out there. Likewise, Bufamonte, he's basically helping most of the Xfinity guys this weekend with the Mike Cope team, and then you've in the middle of all of it, you've got Ty Majeski for Newman Wax, currently in 3rd position, but some 6 seconds off the pace. Well, Rafa Matos leading the way. We apologize, we haven't got our pictures back yet, but we've got a power cut here at Road America, and we'll get back to them as soon as we can, but we're keeping you up to date as what's going on in this 101-mile lap race, the Ryan Company's Muscle Car Challenge, to start the day off here, and it's being led by Rafa Matos, the championship leader. Tom Gray just going through the start-finish. Tim Gray, excuse me. Good to see the 25 back out on track. That was the man, that was Misha Goikenberg, who had such a good run in Mid-Ohio, the man from Canada. He came into the pits after spinning out at turn 4, but he's back out on track. Now, interestingly enough, there's been a change. Tifft has taken the lead ahead of Matos, so I think Matos has made a mistake there. And so, Matt Tifft of Charlotte, North Carolina, the man who didn't get to race last time out at Mid-Ohio, his home race, is finally leading a Trans Am race. Finally. He had a bit of bad luck, hasn't he?
I'd be curious to see if Rafa did make a mistake, because Tifft caught up to him in a hurry.
Yeah,
I wonder if he, got a little
Well, we can
loose
only
somewhere.
guess at this point.
Yes, yeah.
So Tifft leads from Matos. Ty Majeski in 3rd place. Scott Lagasse, the man on the move, 2:16.8 last time out. And when you consider the leader is doing 2:18.0, Lagasse is on the march, the man from Florida. Bufamonte's behind him. In fact, Bufamonte's on the pace too, a 2:17.2, his best lap. So the pace upping as we go along, and the tyres starting to come in, and we get down to the meat part of this 100 1 mile race. 25 laps, we estimate. So 16 laps to go in this one. And a lot more racing to come. Jordan Bupp's dropped back to 6th place, having been up to 3rd at one point. Dylan McAvern, 7th at the moment. Ernie Francis Jr. doing a good job given the weekend he's had. And just to remind people, you talk to Ernie. Let's just talk about his weekend. He got here, and then first practice, boom, into the wall.
Yeah, going into the kink too.
Oof, so the fastest place on the circuit.
Right. So
he was what, 120 miles an hour?
Yeah, hitting the concrete wall, which is not fun. Couldn't get the car back together, and Kerry brought his car over and said, "Hey, drive mine. You're going for the championship."
I didn't even know that happened in modern racing. Somebody giving their car away as a sporting gesture.
Very rarely.
Yeah, I'm going to say. Yeah, you wouldn't do it?
I wouldn't, no.
No, there you go. Just checking.
But yeah, so they're getting that car ready, and he wasn't sure if he was going to run the TA2 race. He said he'll hop in for practice and see how it feels, and obviously it felt pretty good. He's up to 8th place.
Okay, now, I know we haven't got the pictures, but I can tell you that Scott Lagasse is on the move and chasing hard on Majeski in 3rd place. But also, Bufamonte is right there with him, and the pair of them are now starting to close in on Ty Majeski in 3rd position. And if they can work their way through in the next few laps, we could face a really good and interesting last 10 laps in this one, where our regular guys are vying for the podium. And that's obviously what they'd love to see. It's great to have the Xfinity boys to prove just how good our Trans Am boys are. And these guys aren't the guys making up the numbers in the Xfinity. These guys are the ones that are contending for the Xfinity Championship in NASCAR. So the likes of Bufamonte, Jordan Bupp doing a really good job. So we'll keep an eye on them. And likewise, Ernie Francis Jr. And this, his only, I guess, 3rd run in TA2?
Yeah.
Do you see Francis Jr. maybe doing TA2 next year? He's been probably one of the most successful TA drivers, even at the tender age he is, in the history of the sport.
Yeah, I think if his schedule allows it, he's doing the NASCAR thing, and I think
he's doing the K&N Championship.
Right. I think his heart's always going to be in Trans Am. This is where he started. This is where he's had a lot of success. So as long as his schedule permits, I don't think he's going to go anywhere.
Big future ahead of him then. So Matt Tifft leads this race. Field's starting to spread out, and there could be a case in a few laps' time where some of the back markers, and I'm just seeing them go across the line now, like Misha Goikerberg, will get caught by the leaders. And in fact, that's exactly what I'm watching right now, because Matt Tifft has just dived past our commentary booth, and he has got Goikerberg in his sights. And this will give Matos a chance, theoretically, to catch or recatch Matt Tifft, because not that the back markers will get in the way, and in fact they're lucky because Goikenberg is probably one of the quickest guys out there, and so he's not going to be slowing down too quickly, but it could give Rafa Matos and the chasing pack a chance to do some catching now.
Yeah, it also depends where they catch him. 5, 6, and 7, that could slow him up a little bit, or 12, 13, and 14, where there's not really going to be a lot of passing. That'll give Rafa a chance to catch up a little bit.
So Tifft in control after 10 laps of this race. His last lap, a 2:16.9, and likewise almost identical by Rafa, a 2:16.986. Bufamonte does a 2:16.0, so he's almost a second quicker. Really impressive than the leaders at the moment. Battle for 3rd, Majeski and Lagasse. 0.5, the gap between the pair of them. And so Lagasse doing a really good job. He's reeled him in for sure. Scott Lagasse, I had a prediction at the beginning of the day that he was going to be the man to watch, and he certainly has been so far. And he's got odds on now. If he's going at this speed and the way he's caught up, now the gap less than half a second, I think we could be seeing a really good battle for the podium before the end of this race.
Yeah, and I'm not so sure that Tony might have been saving a little tires because he started to pick it up about a lap and a half ago quite a bit. So you got to wonder, okay, if this stays green, you know, I would have to say if I'm Matt Tifft and I'm Ty, I'm going pretty hard. I want to win. It is a one-off. And so it'd be interesting if it goes green the whole way if Tony was saving tires.
Well, after I interviewed Tony for the CBS show, which you can see later down the road, Tony did admit that he needs to pull out the stops. He needs to pull out and be tactical and be strategic. He knows that Rafa makes very few mistakes. And, yep, they are now plowing through. I just saw Lagasse going through on some back markers, and I saw the marshals putting it out. And the battle for the lead. Tifft leading by 1.4 seconds over Rafa Matos. And in Trans Am, that ain't anything, is it really?
No, that can be made up very
That's a
quickly.
gear change.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Well, we apologize again. We've had some technical gremlins attacking us through the woods here in Road America. But we can keep you up to date. We've got some fantastic graphics, doing a really good job. Lagasse, Bufamonte, 0.8 now between those two. So Lagasse is half a second behind third place, and Bufamonte less than a second behind him. Ernie Francis Jr. up to 7th now. He's got ahead of Dillon. Brandon Jones, who was a big feature last time out at Mid-Ohio, he's down in 9th position. This makes it a little easier. And there is the 00 of Ty Majeski. And now you can see that battle quite clearly between 3rd, 4th, and 5th place. There's your leader. There's 2nd place. Here's 3rd place. This is Majeski, but look at Lagasse and look at Bufamonte. Right there with him. Big gap between those chasing them. But we have a battle on our hands, folks. And in fact, the leaders have yet to get past the number 25 of Goikerberg that I mentioned just a few minutes ago as effectively a back marker, but somebody who was in the top 5, so he's not particularly going slowly, so they haven't got past him yet.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if they all catch him at the same time.
Yeah, that will be interesting. Bufamonte keeping a watchful eye, but he needs to start making some inroads. Welcome back to Road America. Now you can see what we're talking about. And the 88 is Rafa Matos, who's done a really good job this season as they head up the hill. And leaders crossing the line. And Bufamonte's got to make a decision here. Does he push on and try to get back into the lead, or hold position and hope that the others don't catch up too quickly? Because at the moment they are.
I think he's going. If I'm him with 12 laps to go, now's the time.
Well, let me ask you that. In terms of tires, that's one of the big factors. With so much horsepower, that is one of the big key strategic factors of any of these races, is when and how you use and manage the tires. So is it possible that you can choose a time to sprint, or do you just feel it?
You can do both. I mean,
Okay.
you can obviously. Bufamonte right now is going, and I wouldn't be surprised if he passes Lagasse this lap. You know, you can save him for a lap and then go hard for a lap. You're gauging. For me, I would gauge that off the guy I'm chasing.
Bufamonte's taken another 3/10 out of Lagasse, and like you say, he is going. But we always talk about, and I'm always interested talking to a driver, when we talk about managing tires and saving tires, you guys are doing almost identical times. How do you save tires when you're on the same lap time?
You go a little easier. I mean, that's the basic point. You go a little easier. You go from a 10 to a 9.
Gotcha.
And that can save a little bit.
Mine goes up to 11.
So no more.
Just got a quick shot of Ernie Francis Jr. in 7th place.
It's like Lagasse took off from Bufamonte a little bit.
Yep. Here comes Rafa. So they're now going through the back markers, and there's your leader. There's 2nd place. Goikerberg is actually a lap behind them. The blue car, the number 25, just going through your shot there. Bupp is in 3rd place, but he's got to get past the back marker. So the leader, Matt Tifft, doing a really good job so far here at Road America in our 100-mile just over. Muscle Car Challenge by Ryan Companies. Ryan Companies Muscle Car Challenge here at Road America as they go up the famous hill here. The leaders coming through. And the gap at the moment between first and second, just over 2 seconds. 2.049 to be precise. Majeski in third position at the moment. But the question remains, will Scott Lagasse Jr. and Tony Buffamonte, Jordan Buck dropping down a little, try to catch Majeski by the end of this race? And of course, the reason we ask that is because Majeski's not a regular. He's one of the Xfinity boys. So in terms of the championship, we want to see if Lagasse can get up there and challenge. Likewise, Jordan Buck, but he's struggling somewhat in 6th place, just ahead of Francis Jr. And as you can see, the 25 just being polite and getting out of the way. How hard is it when you've got back markers and you're in your own race at the end of the day, and you're not necessarily looking in your mirrors the whole time? Do you rely on the flag marshals, or do you just kind of keep a watchful eye on your mirrors?
If you're a back marker,
yeah.
If I was a back marker, yeah. All
not that you've ever been a back marker.
Absolutely
no,
never,
exactly,
of
right.
course. No, you want to be cognizant of where the leaders are, because the last thing you want to do is mess up someone's championship.
Sure.
And that, I can only
and
imagine.
Payback say, yeah.
Yeah, the guilt that I would feel if I, ran into the guy running for the championship. So I think Goikhberg knows that. I mean, he's a seasoned driver, so yeah, you got to take it all. You got to watch the flaggers. You have to watch your mirrors and listen to your guys on the radio too.
I'll tell you what, I will make one prediction. I don't often make predictions, but I will say one thing. I don't think Rafa's going to settle for 2nd place, especially given the gap. Look at the gap. He can see it, we can see it. And if he's got a chance of winning this race, he's going to take it. Look at him sliding out of that right-hander there. Beautifully done. But, yeah, he's pushing on, and he wants to beat this youngster, Matt Tifft, from Ohio. He's got Majeski just behind him, but he's got a decent gap to him. And I just got the feeling that Rafa is starting to push on now.
Yeah, but you don't want to get caught up in, he's running for the championship. So, it's going to be hard. I can only imagine if I'm sitting there, I'm like, I want to win, I want to win, I want to win. I got to get around this guy. But you also got to take a step back and say, okay, if I burn it up or I run off the track and Buffamonte gets around me, there goes my points. So he's in a really precarious spot in his own head.
Yeah, no kidding. And in fact, to be honest, to the leader, Matt Tifft, we might be wanting to will Matos on, because Tifft is actually doing a really good job. And in fact, I think Matos is struggling to get on level turns, whereas the big battle is the one we're watching now. Now, more back markers coming into view, but this is the battle. Look at this. Majeski in 3rd place. Here's 4th place Lagasse, and Buffamonte waiting to pounce if Lagasse doesn't take the chance as they come down to turn 4. Buffamonte right up there now. Good grunt up the hill.
Yeah, I think Buffamonte is probably a little bit of a priority to get around Lagasse. Because that's a points guy.
Yeah.
That's a points guy. Whereas,
ooh, mistake there by Lagasse. He went very wide. Yeah, Buffa putting the pressure on, and as you say, 18 points. And there's a big difference between the two men in front. If he can get in front of both Majeski and Lagasse before the end of this race, and here's one of the chances now. There's a back marker in front of both of them, and through goes Majeski. And he doesn't want to hold it back. We've got a really good finish to this race. 15 laps gone, 10 to go. Everybody weaving through the traffic now, through the woods here in Road America. Great place to come racing at the National Park of Speed, as they know it.
I think Buffamonte got hosed on that one, because Majeski and Lagasse both got around that guy, and he kind of was left out to dry.
Yeah, a little bit. And everybody weaving their way through. There is the number 95 of Scott Lagasse Jr. And like you say, this hill, it can be quite frightening, because, as I say, the cars must go light as they come under the bridge there, especially with the wind coming at them.
It's quite a sensation, that and like a track like Lime Rock, when you come up the hill and the car gets light. I mean, if you've never felt it before, it's It's almost like being on a roller coaster. That's, I guess, the closest thing I can say.
Looking forward to going back to Line Rock. Down towards 3. Here's your leader, the number 26 of Matt Tifft of Charlotte, North Carolina. The gap, 1.7 seconds now between himself and Matos. So Matos has done a good job of just narrowing the gap somewhat. Majeski now 4 seconds off the lead, but it looks less than that when you look at this long lens view here. And still, Lagasse and Buffon chasing him down. Flames pouring out of each of the cars as they dive into turn 4. Second gear, would you say, through here?
I think so. Uh-oh.
Ooh. Well, somebody's lost his cool box and his lunch. That's no sandwiches or refreshments for that car.
I wonder how that happened.
Yeah, that means you've got to have got out of the window, through the net.
Or through the other side of the window.
And yeah, that's maybe he threw it out, ballast.
Yeah.
You know, we've heard some sandbags have been around the track throughout the weekend, so maybe that's what those are. Well, Matt Tifft has got no such problems. He is flying at the moment, and we were saying earlier, he's had a bit of bad luck in his Trans Am runs. He's doing great in Xfinity, but his Trans Am career has just not really started, has it?
No, and after last Mid-Ohio, I'm sure he's pretty thrilled to be running up front with the Cope car.
Because he was running there, he was going to run there. He did a good job in practice, but then I can't remember what happened, but
motor blew up.
That's right, the motor blew up the worst possible time, and yep. So hopefully for him, fingers crossed, he can turn this one into a victory here. And I don't think there's any place better when you're starting out in a championship that you're not used to than Road America to say, yeah, you know, I did a bit of Trans Am, won at Road America. That's a great little accolade. That'll do, won't it? That's a good one for the mantelpiece. Put that center.
Good little conversation piece.
A good little conversation piece, yeah. There's good bragging rights for that. So another lap completed, 8 to go. Here's your leaderboard. Tifft, Matos, 1.6 seconds. Majeski dropping the gap slightly from 4 seconds down to 3.2. Buffon still hot on the heels of Scott Lagasse Jr. Down the hill they come. Crucial turn here. The right-hander to get onto the back straight. And you can see nothing between Lagasse and Buffon.
I think Buffamonte's
going for a run here. Jake, your call. How does he do this?
Right now. He's got to outbrake him here.
Into 4, yeah, that's key. Well, we're looking back at some other battles further on, and here we go. Buffamonte's got him, but Lagasse says, no, I got the inside line, my friend. Now he's going to go for a good run up the hill. Lagasse goes wide. This is another opportunity into the next corner. He's not close enough. Down towards the carousel now. Buffamonte looking for a way past with 8 laps to go. Lagasse, another big mistake. He is Larry, isn't he?
Yeah, the harder Lagasse pushes, when you go out there and you slide, you're losing time. So anytime he gets a little squirrely off the corner, that's just an instant where Buffon just like that.
Just like that. And Lagasse under pressure now. Here comes Boof. And these guys have got some history. They've been going toe-to-toe, wheel-to-wheel.
That's putting it
bodywork to bodywork since Indianapolis. That's putting it lightly.
Very lightly.
Fair enough. Yep. It happened at Mid-Ohio too. But Boof wasn't very happy with him last time out. We think, you know, that is Ernie Francis Jr., the cooler.
Really?
That's parked out there. So he's the one that's going to go without the sandwiches.
I'm still curious to how it got out
in
of
all
the
seriousness, that's a scary thing. That's a cool box. That's a big piece of the car.
At least it's in the gravel.
Yeah, luckily for him. But, well, hopefully for the CBS show, we'll have a good look at that on the onboards. That'll make some interesting footage.
Just wondering how it got out of the car.
I'm still trying to work that out.
Usually the cool box
I can only believe it wasn't strapped in, so he's probably had it rattling around throughout most of the race. So then, on the 18th lap, the gap, 1.9 seconds. Here's your third place man in the all-orange 00 car. Whoa, Lagasse, where's he going? He almost went off to Mid-Ohio again there. But he's back to Road America, thankfully. But that was a very wide turn 1. He does like to push it, doesn't he, Scott?
Yeah, and as long as he's doing that, you know, Buffamonte, as long as he just hits his marks and makes Lagasse not nervous, but gets in his mirror and, you know, the mistake, you saw how much the closure was when Lagasse went sideways there, and Buffon really caught up to him.
Yeah, to be fair, though, I mean, he's still putting in the laps, is Scott. 2:15.4. They've all dropped down. Fastest man out there is the leader, 2:15.44 at the moment. Here he is. And this has been a good performance. He took the lead after the safety car after the start. Matos got the lead from the start on the rolling start. Matos starting second, of course. And Boof, surely now, Buffon with 7 to go, has got to put the hurt back on Lagasse in the closing stages. And also, talking of closing in, Majeski is looking majestic as Ty Majeski in 3rd position, starting to make some inroads on Rafa Matos. And this is not good news because, as you can see, the championship contenders, Buffon and Rafa Matos, very, very close. And the one who can gain the most from this has to be Tony Buffon. Here's Ernie Francis. Behind him, the 77 of Dylan McAvern in the resplendently painted Liqui Moly car. And Berryman sponsored. Got some great artwork on that car. Got a good look at it yesterday. And Francis Jr., well, what a weekend. He's not going to be remembering this one well, is he?
Or he might.
He might,
He
yes.
might, yeah, so.
Oh, he's definitely getting a little leery in the closing stages. The tyre starting to go off. The gap back up to 2.4 now for the leaders. But coming down for Majeski in 3rd. And there's no question I'm keeping an eye on that. It's less than 3. It was a few laps ago over 4. Well, Dylan pushing it out of 14. Up the hill they come now. Surely he's got a run on him. Just behind them, Doug Peterson. Francis doing everything he can to hold on as they dive into turn 1.
I would have thought he would have made a move there.
Well, this is that classic Chevy Mustang battle, and whoa, Dylan almost got sideways there, giving us a full sight of that Berryman logo. Francis trying to hold him off. This is the battle for 8th position. Francis holding that position. Here's your leader again. Time running out here. And you can tell that Matt is pushing it in the closing stages. He doesn't want to lose out. And the pack are closing the gap on him bit by bit. And we hope we'll have a really good finish to this one. And I think we're going to have battles throughout. It's going to be hard for the director to keep up with all the battles that are happening for position here. Doug Peterson diving into the left-hander. You're watching the Ryan Company's Muscle Car Challenge here from Road America, coming down to the closing stages as we get to the business end of the 2018 Trans Am TA2 Championship. It's been a good year, dominated by Rafa Matos, who started winning at Road America and has never Road Atlanta and has never looked back since, and has really looked as more like a champion every weekend in Trans Am. Loves this championship. Said he used to watch it growing up as a kid in Brazil and thought, I want to go at that. And now he's in the box seat to win the series overall. Very evenly matched, 500 brake horsepower Chevys, Mustangs, and Tifft, Matos, and Majeski.
Starting to spread out, it looks like.
Yeah, a little bit at the front, but this is a great battle here. And Francis Jr., they are, I tell you what, they're using the track, aren't they?
You got to use all the track, yeah.
No kidding. There's your leader again. The clock ticking down, and the laps ticking off as 5 laps to go. And there's, look at this battle for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th place. Well, Rafa, if you hadn't felt pressure this season, you've got it now, my friend. This is going to be a cracking finish. And at the moment, Majeski looking for a way past, is as close as he's been. Into turn 4, back up the hill, through the gearbox, little squirrel. As the rubber hits the road, and there's no question that Rafa Matos under enormous pressure now from the Mustang. This is what he feared all weekend long, isn't it?
Yeah, and the closer Majeski gets, closer Lagasse gets, the closer Buffon gets. So.
And talking of close, Buffamonte's got a run on Lagasse again. Let's take a look just as they come through. Look at this. Here comes Buffamonte. Down towards the carousel. Back markers in the way. Got to be careful here. This is where it gets really tight.
Yeah, I think that that hurt Majeski there.
Yeah, and it certainly doesn't help Lagasse too, because they're all weaving in and out. Oh, and in the background, round he goes. He's taken Buffamonte with him. Out goes the 34 on the back marker. That is the number 82. That's Frank Delaney. And the New Yorker has taken out Buffamonte, and that is the worst possible scenario for Tony Buffamonte, who was chasing Rafa Matos for the championship. Back markers can be a help and a hindrance, but this time you can see nothing to do with Buffamonte, quietly going through the woods on his own, and the 82 trying to get out the way, but took to the grass, and then it was all over. And Buffamonte's car, and surely will have a full course yellow after that, which should make the end of this race a little bit more interesting. And the Ryan Company's Muscle Car Challenge has got one more twist to give us here. After 21 laps, 4 to go, and a full course yellow. We're going to have a grandstand finish, but the sad news for those chasing the championship is that Rafa Matos has managed to get through the back markers, but this man, Tony Buffamonte, I am afraid the Mustang has come to a stop here in Road America. Boof's got his helmet off and he's out. Hopefully okay, because that was a big off. And there's Delaney's car. He's going to limp back to the pits, and Boof's okay, but obviously a little shaken and probably fed up. But he's out of the car.
I'd like to see the onboard for Delaney. I don't know if he just went.
I think he just got to the garage. I think he was basically trying to get out of the way.
And that's,
he knew, and you know.
That's one of those things where.
He certainly wasn't battling Buffamonte.
Yeah, I mean, it's so hard as a guy getting lapped. It's, you know, do you pick a line and stay there? Do you try to get out of the way? And that wasn't a good spot to get out of the way. A high-speed corner like that, and to drop a couple wheels. That's. I can only imagine what's going through Tony's head right now.
It's funny, I've seen in single-seater racing that exact scenario where you just, especially in that part of, it's all grass there. You can see, look, there's very little. There's probably, what, 2 inches between that white line and the grass.
Right.
So, yeah, you watch now. Look, Lagasse goes through, and look how close. Yeah, see, look. I mean, well, he took a big chunk off, but the point is he was more offline than he normally would have been at that point because of letting the others through.
I think Delaney's trouble started entering the corner.
Yep.
I think he was carrying way too much speed, and as he got in there, got a little sideways, and when he hit the grass, it just kind of shot him around.
Sideways now, that's for sure. Well, now Tifft with it all to do, and surely, and you know that Rafa Matos is thinking, I got this.
Yeah, he's he's got to get a really, really good restart and hope that he can stay in front of Tifft, because Tifft is running quicker.
Now, will his team let him know, surely, that it's Buffamonte that's out, or he'll see it for himself because he'll see the parked car, right?
Maybe. I don't know. That's a different.
Maybe you don't tell Rafa.
You don't tell Rafa, so he keeps
his head down.
Keeps his head down, keeps him going. You certainly don't want to tell a driver, hey, Tony's out, take your time, and then he could lose it more points by getting past. You know, so if I'm a crew chief, I'm not going to say anything.
Well, I'm guessing he could probably see the car if they picked it up. These angles don't give us necessarily what we can see. We know Delaney managed to get back, and they're clearing it pretty quickly. Great track marshalling here at Road America. Such experience. Many of them come back year on year to work here in the different championships.
hopefully they get the cars off in time, go back green.
Yeah, we don't want to finish under yellow, that's for sure, because we could have a cracking finish to this, and I've got a feeling that Rafa Matos will go for glory, because I know him too well, where he doesn't like to settle for second, especially when he's got a chance. If there's no chance, he won't go for it, but if there is just a minimal chance that he can win a race, he wants to dominate this championship in 2018, and so far he's done just that.
Rafa's got almost 100 points over Lagasse, so I don't see him being really too worried about it. But still, I would see him going hard.
Yeah, I agree. So 3 laps to go. I think we may just have a 1-lap sprint. Who knows? It was the coolest it was Ernie Francis Jr. whose cooler dropped out into the gravel, interestingly enough. Matt Tifft then leads the race from Rafa Matos. We're under caution. Ty Majeski in 3rd position, Scott Lagasse Jr. in 4th, Jordan Bupp in 5th. Brandon Jones now moving into the top 6, just ahead of Ernie Francis Jr., who under the circumstances and the weekend he's had is doing a really good job. There's his cooler box, and how it got out the car I'll never know. And I'll tell you what, let's look forward to the onboards of that. That could be very interesting to see how Ernie lost that. I still can't work that out.
Because that thing is strapped down to the right of the driver.
And it's there to keep him cool, right?
Right.
It's a cool suit, basically.
Right, and you can see the
tube where it comes out.
The base of it even came off. So I'm not, maybe a couple bolts sheared or...
Well, and you got to ask the question, those guys are netted in there. So was it rattling around? Did he throw it out? I mean, that would be the obvious to me, because that would be even scarier, would be to have it rattling around in there.
At least
it's like somebody throwing a suitcase at you at 140 miles an hour for about 20 minutes.
At least he went over to the side and maybe threw it out in the gravel. So at least he had enough sense, that not to cause a caution.
So then, we're getting down to 2 laps to go here as they head up the hill. Good crowd here already, and they were coming in. Well, we thought we were in early. We weren't the first here this morning.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they were here parked overnight, trying to get in the gate.
Yeah, such is the love of the famous Road America circuit. They love their racing here in Wisconsin. So they're almost there. They've got to the point now where they're clearing things away. And just a reminder, the Ryan Company's Muscle Car Challenge from Road America. Matt Tifft, not a usual to there. Yeah, there's no question that Buffamonte knows exactly who's out. There it is. And there's your leader, Matt Tifft, one of the Xfinity. He'll be in action this afternoon in NASCAR, but he's trying to get a win under his belt here, and we've mentioned it before. He's not had a lot of luck so far, but he's leading this one. But Rafa Matos has got one more bite of the cheese here in Wisconsin to see if he can do it. Majeski, 3rd place. Scott Lagasse in 4th. Jordan Bupp, who had been up to 3rd place early on. We both said we thought Bupp was going to put some pressure on, but he suddenly sort of disappeared, got down to about 6th, and he's recovered to 5th. Just ahead of Brandon Jones, Ernie Francis Jr. in 7th place, Dylan McAvern in 8th position, another one of the NASCAR boys. Then Doug Peterson, another good run from the team over, from the three-dimensional services team, and he's in 9th position, just ahead of Tyler Reddick. Not a bad scalp for Doug Peterson, that is it?
Yeah, and it also helped in all disciplines, like golf or something. When you play or race with guys that are fast, it brings your game up a lot of times. So I think Doug, with running with Rafa, with running with these Xfinity guys, I think it's making him step up his game a little bit, and that can reveal a lot about it. That makes you learn a lot too. So really, it's good to see him running well.
Trouble is, when I play golf with guys that are better than me, they always make me buy the beers. So that's a problem.
That's why we invite guys like you.
Okay, I see. I see how you are. So, As you can see, the Corvette peels off and we go back up the hill, and we got a cracking last couple of laps. The green flag waves in front of us here in the commentary position. Matt Tifft will lead them away. What can Matos do? And he's right alongside him. Rafa Matos of Brazil, the boy from Brazil. Here he comes, looking for the lead. And also looking for the lead, Majeski. It's a three-way battle for the first corner. And I don't believe it, but look at this. Majeski in the 00. Newman Wax car takes the lead for the first time. Brilliant stuff at the restart. And now look at him go. Rafa Matos drops down to what, 4th place? He's in all sorts of trouble now, the Brazilian. And the NASCAR boys weren't holding back at the restart. They've done this before. And now it is Majeski who's chief cheese here at the front.
Yeah, well, Tifft and Matos were there banging off each other.
I know,
Majeski really.
Matos got on the mud for a second. He's lucky he didn't get into real trouble. He managed to save it. Peterson going through just behind Ernie Francis Jr. And, well, some tense moments. And that Rafa will be kicking himself. Absolutely kicking himself. Now, Honeywell's up there as well. Tom Sheehan's up there. So guys that weren't even involved, look at this. Early on, Prochek's on there. He would love a good result too, down in 14th position. So
I think Road America might send a bill to Lagasse for the gas, for the grass.
Fair enough. Well, they've been grass cutting at Mid-Ohio, and now here at Road America. Majeski leads the way. A brilliant restart by Ty Majeski of Kannapolis, North Carolina. And look at the gap he's pulled. And if he keeps this up on this lap, he's going to do really a perfect last lap, and he's home dry. Never say that too early, though. We saw what happened here at this place last time. That's where we lost Buffamonte a couple of laps ago. That's what brought out the caution. And Majeski looking for his first win. Ty Majeski. And now can Rafa recover to get a podium? And I would have thought if Rafa doesn't at least make the podium, what a race this has been. Now, back up the hill. Got to get good drive out of here. Everybody of the leaders anyway. White flag is out for our race here in Road America. Majeski from Tifft. Scott Lagasse, Matos 4th at the moment. Brandon Jones up to 5th. Jordan Bupp 6th. Jordan Bupp 3rd in the championship, remember. And this is going to be a really good result for Jordan Bupp too, with Buffamonte out. It could push Bupp right into a position of challenging Buffamonte into the next round at Watkins Glen. Into turn 4 they go, down the back straight. Tifft with one more chance, possibly. Scott Lagasse trying to hold off Matos. Matos all over him. Will he make a move at 4?
He better. He's running out of options.
I don't think he's close enough.
He's
looking for it. Here comes Rafa. Don't use the brakes. Go on, son. And he does. Lagasse lets him through, and he doesn't use the brakes because he's gone wide. Rafa, good idea. Run application, sorry. And Rafa makes a good effort but loses another place. So Rafa is going to be spitting. Brandon Jones is the man who picked up that place from him. But out front, it's Ty Majeski. Time running out as the two NASCAR Xfinity boys, 1st and 2nd. Scott Lagasse is going to be the first of the regulars to come home after a great run. Matos still putting pressure on Brandon Jones, who just squeaked by him a moment ago. Onto the grass and dirt goes Majeski, really pushing hard now in the back part of this Road America circuit. A fantastic end to this Ryan Company's Muscle Car Challenge as Ty Majeski, the rookie in Trans Am, is going to take his first victory in Trans Am at Road America. Rafa Matos, who had the world at his feet just a few moments ago, his closest contender went out, but the restart also was not good for Rafa Matos. He was beaten up into turn 1, and he's never looked back and hasn't been able to get back on level terms. He's now struggling to see if he can get past Brandon Jones, who passed him after a bad move at turn 4. But Majeski heading now towards the checkered flag here. It's going to be a tight finish between the two of them, but taking the checkered flag, Ty Majeski wins the Ryan Company's Muscle Car Challenge, and he just chose his moment perfectly there in the Ford Mustang. A superb restart by Majeski, and that was majestic. Superb stuff by him. And Matt Tifft takes second place, finally gets a result in Trans Am. Scott Lagasse Jr. takes third, Brandon Jones is fourth, and a very disappointed Rafa Matos will take fifth after leading so much of this 101-mile race. Jordan Bupp right behind him. Dylan McIvern in seventh place. Ernie Francis Jr. brilliantly. I say brilliant because he lost his cooler box halfway through the race in eighth position. Doug Peterson, another strong 9 for the three-dimensional services man. And then in 10th place, Tyler Reddick. Well, that was a perfect restart, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was one of the a really good restart on Majeski's part. I mean, he saw them fighting and just took the opportunity and ran with it. So if I'm Rafa,
well,
I am not going to be happy.
Yeah, I mean, I asked you the question. Is he going to make a move at 4? And you said he has to. He did. He didn't use the brakes, or it looked that way, or he braked as late as he dared.
Braked way too late, and it just pushed him out.
I've seen that so many times at Turn 4 at Road America.
It's easy to do there.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, there is runoff there, and so you know that. And I think that's the thing, is that you kind of know that you've got a little bit of leeway. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's the fast way. Oh, that was perfect by Ty. And the Newman Wax boys, I know how happy they were to be here. This is only their second race. So they're going to be really, really pleased with that, because they had a different driver at Mid-Ohio, and that's never easy. So this is a real one-off in many ways.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how the championship plays out now, because Lagasse finished in front. I mean, Rafa lost a lot of points today with that. And here's a
look at the start, right at the very start. And that was the first incident. That's what brought out the safety car. We had a snowplow out there with Atwell. And then we got restarted again. And that was the major incident when, sadly, the number 82 of Frank Delaney just taking out Bufamonte. Here's the restart, and a brilliant restart it was for Ty Majeski. So, all sorts of drama. A brilliant way to start the day. The fans here in Road America getting a joy here to start the day off. What should be a brilliant day's racing here. Perfect conditions. It's dry. It had been wet earlier on. And Ty Majeski in the Newman Wax 00 takes victory in TA2. My thanks to Jake Dallenberg. Dallenberg? Or Dollenbach even. I'll try that again. But well done to Ty Majeski. And yeah, that was about as good a restart as I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, that was pretty good stuff for the TA2 class. And the race was so close the entire run.
We apologize again for the technical difficulties. Nothing we can do about that. That sort of stuff happens. And of course, we'll be back with TA3, TA4 and the TA race. But that concludes our TA2.